What's up, guys? I'm super excited for today's video. JB4 tuner going on the TRD Pro. Let's go. So a couple things real quick before we start the install. You'll notice we have the hood popped already. What you need to do before you even start this process is lock your truck. Pop your hood first, obviously, because you're not going to be able to pop it once the truck is locked. But pop your hood, lock your truck, set your keys at minimum of 20 feet away. I have mine up in the bedroom, actually. They're nowhere close to the truck. And then wait at least 10 minutes minimum for the truck to go to sleep. And then you can go ahead and start the install process. So here's what you're going to get in the kit. This is a very, very simple install. So you have your main module right here with the wiring harness coming off of it. Obviously, I'm going to show you where these go. So you have your two connections here, two connections there. There's a smaller connection right back here. That spot is going to go to this module right here that goes into our OBD2. And again, I'll give you a look at all this stuff. This is the only thing we're going to have to run through the firewall. And then this piece is actually optional. You don't have to get this, but I highly recommend it. This is so you can control, you can connect to the JB4 via your phone on an app, which I'll give you a look at. And you could also change maps and all that stuff on the fly. I highly recommend this. You don't need this, but obviously we got it, and I would definitely recommend it if you're going to grab yourself a JB4. First thing we're going to do is connect the wireless module onto the main module. In order to do that, you come back here. You can see these 4 silver Allen key screws. It's a 2.5 millimeter. Just go ahead and loosen those and remove them. With them 4 removed, we can go ahead and separate the module to get to our board. And when you look at the board, you can see, obviously, here's all of our wires coming off. And then on this side, you can see there's an empty port right there. So I'm going to go ahead and lift carefully the board out of here, and all we're going to do is take our, again, you may or may not have to do this, but if you get this wireless option to connect to the app, you're just going to plug it in, check your pins, make sure they're nice and straight. I always do that. And then just plug it into the other end here. It only goes in one way. And then they provide you with these 2 small Phillips head screws. So that's what's actually going to secure that in place once you have it in there. So you can see there's a hole there and a hole on the other side. That's where the 2 Phillips head screws are going to go. One thing real quick, if you have a small Phillips head like this, it's much easier using like a standard screwdriver. Because of the bumps on the side, it's just a little tough to get in there. So just a little tip, if you have a small Phillips head screwdriver, much easier to use that. And you don't want to go crazy. I mean, snug these up, but they don't have to be, you don't have to go crazy on them. Now that those 2 screws are secure, we're just going to gently place this back in here. And you can see there's a little gap on that end for that module to sit. You do want to remove this little round rubber plug, because that's where you can see that just simply pops out of that little hole there, because that's where our wire from the module is going to come out of. Now we just place our cover back over and secure it with the 4 screws. Just making sure that that wire isn't pinched in there and that it's laying flat all the way around. So we'll go ahead and put the 4 screws back in now and tighten them down. Same thing, you want them snug and you want them nice and tight, but you don't have to go overboard on torquing them down. All right, we're now ready to put it in the truck. So all we're going to do is pop our engine cover off. So just lift up like so, and it'll come off the hinges back there. Set this aside. So we only have to make 2 connections underneath the hood here. The first connection we're going to do is when you look at you can see I have my JB4 module just laying over on the fuse panel over there. So here's the 2 connections that I showed you in the beginning of the video. You can see one has brown and black wires. The other has kind of a rainbow, red, black, green, and yellow. The brown and black is going to come to this front sensor right here. So right here between your 2 charge pipes, this is the connection we're going to take off. Here it is right here. So again, black and brown connection coming off the JB4. You're going to take the male of the JB4 into the female stock cable, and then the female of the JB4 into the male. All right, so we're just going to line these up, and they could only go in, just pay attention to the tabs. You can't really mess it up. They only go in one way. You should hear a click. Hopefully that turned out on video. And then we'll take the female over to the male on the truck. Again, you should hear a click. Hopefully that turned out for you. I felt it and heard it click into place. So that one is done. All right, the second connection is by far the hardest part of this entire process. And it's only because it's way back underneath here. I'm going to take the camera off the tripod and try to get you the best look as I can. And this is even harder on the hybrids because of this, the big orange bundle for the hybrid system. It's directly in your way. You'll see what I mean when I take the camera off the tripod, but let me grab the camera and I'll get you as good of a look as I can of the connection that you need to get to and what I did to get this orange bundle out of the way the best I could. Okay, so when you come up underneath here, let me see if I can get you the best look as possible. So right back up underneath here, you see all these gray wire bundles? The top one right here, the one that I have my finger on top of right there, if you look down, hopefully I can get you a look. It's a 90-degree connection right back there. I can't get the camera back in there because it's so tight. You can kind of see it right there. That's the connection you need to get to. Okay, it's a 90-degree connector. I'll get you a look at it when I unhook it from the truck. But as you can see, this orange bundle of wires is directly in the way. So what I had to do, if we come back out a little bit, see this spot right here? The orange bundle of wires is connected to this black brace with a 10mm bolt right here. Okay, so grab a 10mm wrench, and the head of the bolt is on the back side, back in there. So you have to go up underneath, take that 10mm bolt out, and then you can kind of manipulate and move this orange bundle of wires a little bit, just enough to get your hands back in here. And I already have the connection loose, so let me pop it off and show you real quick. Okay, so this is the one that you need to get to. Okay, let me get it out of there. So you can see what I mean by it's a 90-degree connection. See how it formed the L there, or a 90-degree bend? So that's the connection you need to get to, okay? On the hybrid, it's even harder because of this orange bundle of wires, but you can do it. Just be patient, and definitely, I could not get it out without removing that bolt right there. My hands were just too big. I couldn't get them in there. So if you have really small hands, you might be able to pull it off, but honestly, it's tough. So I recommend just removing that taking the extra couple minutes, remove that bolt, and then you can get at the connection at least a little bit easier. All right, so once you have that loosened, then you're just going to take the two other connections coming off the JB4, the ones with the rainbow, and same thing, male to female, female to male, and then we'll just kind of secure them out of the way. All right, all four connections are made, two in the front, two in the rear, and just a little tip, what I'm going to do, instead of putting that 10mm bolt back in that location, I'm just going to zip tie that orange bundle to that brace, just in case I ever have to remove this thing. That 10mm bolt is a little bit of a pain to get to. This will be much easier to, to deal with if I do have to get in there. So I'm just going to slip the zip tie through the brace, through the orange bundle, and secure it that way. All right, once all those four connections are made, you're now okay to grab your key. We could unlock the truck and make our final connection, that OBD2 wiring harness that I showed you. What we're going to do, we're not going to connect to our OBD2 location yet. I'm just going to set this inside the truck underneath the steering wheel area. I'll give you a look when I'm done, but we're just going to set it in there. We're not going to connect just yet. And then we're going to take the other end, feed it through the firewall, like you guys have seen me do 100 times on this channel with all of our wiring. Again, I'll give you a quick look when I'm done, but I'm not going to show it on camera. It's very easy. So we're just going to take this end, run it up into the engine bay here to make our final connection to the JB4 module. All right, you can see we have our OBD2 end hanging down right here, getting ready to plug into the port that's right up underneath here, underneath the steering wheel, when we're ready. And then it's fed through the firewall, that grommet, right up there where you see all the wires going through. And then it pops through the grommet right there into the engine bay. This is the wire right here. We have it ran over to the passenger side only because this is our disconnect for our winch, okay? So I would usually mount the JB4 right here on top of this fuse box, just double-sided tape, but we have that switch there, gets in the way, so we have it over on the passenger side. All right, so you can see what we did here, just using heavy-duty double-sided Gorilla Tape, cleaned the surface really well with alcohol, stuck it, the module down, and then one thing to pay attention to, if you have the Bluetooth module, this smaller one right here, you do want that facing the driver's seat just for best connectivity. So you can see how we have it angled, facing right towards the driver, okay? Then we have our cord coming over from our OBD2. Obviously I'm going to zip tie it to existing wiring. You want to do that whenever possible, especially when you're running across the engine bay like this or under the truck or whatever, but just zip tie to existing wiring. And we're just going to make our final connection right to this port here. Secure all the wiring, get our engine cover back on, get in the truck, connect to the app, and test this thing out. I cannot wait. Last look before we jump in and take this thing for a spin. Nice and clean install. You can see the wiring is basically hidden underneath the engine cover. Again, secured with zip ties, nothing special. I am actually going to tuck the OBD2 wiring that's coming across. I don't even know if you can see it, the skinny wire there. I'm going to tuck it up in the wire loom there that I have for my ditch lights just to completely hide it. All right, but basically the only wiring you can see is right over in this area here, which unfortunately there's not much you can do about that, but nice and clean. The last thing I want to mention about this module here, the Bluetooth piece, you want to make sure that's not mounted touching anything metal. It cannot be touching anything metal, including the module itself. Okay, so you can see how I have it. There's a gap separate, not touching anything other than the fuse box cover, which obviously is not metal. All right, so let's plug in the OBD2 port. That's the last thing we have to do, and then we can fire the truck up, make sure everything is working, connect to the app, and go for a spin to test this thing out. All right, guys, the moment we've been waiting for. So all I've done off camera is download the JB4 app. You can see it right there. You do have to pay for that. It was like $29 and change, just shy of 30 bucks. So you do have to pay for that, download that. I created my account already. You just type in your name, your email address, that sort of thing. That's all I've done off camera. I have not started the truck. I have not done anything off camera. So you're gonna see for the first time, just like I am. Hopefully it goes smoothly. Time will tell. So we're gonna pull out of the garage and then we'll mess with the app real quick. But I don't wanna leave the truck running in the garage for obvious reasons. So let's start it up. I'm not into the actually, I am gonna click on the JB4 app. And that's gonna take you to the home screen that looks like that, which again, I'll talk a little bit more about that real quick, because I did look around in the app last night actually while I was laying in bed just to check it out. So I don't think it's gonna do anything just yet until we click connect. So let's pull out of the garage here real fast. All right, so we're out of the garage here. I'm gonna click on connect again. I've not done this at all yet, so let's just see what happens. I think that's what we have to do. Okay, I clicked on connect. It's saying scanning for JB4, connecting to device, validating PIN. It says alert, would you like to link this kit to this account? Kits can only be linked to one at a, so yeah, we're gonna link it. Attempting link, awaiting handshake, connected. Okay. So we are connected. You can see, and again, I might cover the app in more detail in a different video just because I don't want this video to get too long, but you can totally customize this. So right now it says we're in map 1. Let me see, you can see it right down there in the bottom right. Let's go to map 0 because that's going to be stock. So if we click and hold that, or I'm sorry, that's not correct. Clicking and hold is how you change it. So if you just tap on it, I'm sorry, you have to double tap on it. So, like I said, as you can see, this is the first time I'm doing this. I have not messed with this at all connected to the truck. So let's go to map 0, which is stock. So you can see now we're in map 0 down there at the bottom right. Actually, let's go right into map 1. And I do want to mention this real quick. The last couple fill-ups that I've done with gas, I did start using 93 octane to run map 1. Which is basically the I don't want to say the beginning map, but it's like the first step up. You need at least 91 octane or better. To go to map 2, you need at least 93 octane or better. And again, I will cover that in more detail, and I'm going to make a follow-up video right after this one, going over this app and the maps and everything. But I'm actually just going to, let's just jump right to map 2 and see how this thing drives. So we've already filled up the last couple times with 93 octane. All right, so you can see we're in map 2, okay? Let's take this thing for a spin and see how we feel. All right, so we're just pulling out of the driveway onto a little side road here. We're in normal mode, just so you guys know. We're not in sport or anything. We're just in normal drive mode. Again, map 2. I do love all those gauges there. I'm gonna have my phone up here. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I have my trans temp. I have all 6 gauges up here that I like, that I'm seeing. Okay. All right. Definitely felt that a little bit as soon as the boost started kicking in. Let me get to a straightaway here so we could just hit it a little bit and see, you know, what a difference we feel. Oh my Lord. All right. that's the first time I'm really kind of hitting the gas. And again, we're on map 2 right now. It gets even better than that, but wow. Yeah. Guys, you can absolutely feel the difference there. Especially like once that boost starts picking up, man, absolutely worth it so far. First impressions, definitely loving it. You do feel that extra power for sure when that boost starts kicking in. Yeah, feels good. Yeah, guys, I mean, this is just the initial drive. Obviously, I wanted to show you guys for the first time, but I am definitely pretty impressed with the feel of this. And I don't have my pedal commander in right now. I actually I took it out for right now. I am going to put that back in as well for the throttle response. So that paired with this, I mean, it should be incredible. I don't know if you guys can see the screen on my phone right now for the gauges, but I have a privacy cover on there, so depending on the angle, you might not be able to see my screen. But this is why I actually recommend that Bluetooth module, the extra piece that I showed you, just for this fact alone. Like, you have all of this right in front of you. You know, your boost, your trans temp, and there's a ton of things that you can customize this screen with. So that's, I definitely recommend that Bluetooth module. It's awesome to be able to see all this right here in front of you. All right, guys, first drive, first impression, I'm loving this thing. We went right to map 2, as you saw, because we've been running 93 octane the last couple fill-ups, so we're able to do that. I know a lot of people only use map 1, and they're happy. Map 2 is definitely a pretty sweet spot there. You feel that extra power for sure. First impressions, I'm loving it. I definitely think it's worth it. Obviously, if we run into any issues, I'll keep you guys posted. I'm going to cut this video right here. I don't want this video to get too long. This was more of like an install, first impression type video. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. Turn on that bell. I'm going to release a video within a day or two after this one, going over the app in depth, all the features on it, everything you can customize on that app. The app is pretty sweet, I will tell you that. I was messing with it in the house last night, as I mentioned. Not connected to the truck, but it's a pretty good app. So we'll cover all that in depth, and we'll also do some 0 to 60 times in the different maps. We'll do all that stuff in the next video, but I'm going to cut this one right here so it doesn't get too long. So if you have any questions on the install or anything you saw here, let me know. Put them down below. We'll get them addressed for you. As always, we appreciate you watching, and yeah, we'll see you on the next video going over the app and all of the different features in detail. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.